Hey everybody, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. Just adjust the screen real quick. In today's video, in today's live stream, I want to discuss the rise of tactical teams in private security. Is this something that we should be doing? Is this something that we should stray far from? And in today's live stream, I want to get your input as well. So let's see who's here. How did I guess? My two loyal subscribers, the Professional Security Journal and Doug. I already know that you guys are competing with each other all the time. Hey, so yeah, we need to talk about this. So what ended up happening is I have like maybe 7 subscribers that I know of that comment all the time that are from the Las Vegas area. Maybe 4. Maybe 4. And somebody had a question about a company called Protective Force International. They are based out of the Las Vegas metro area, and it almost seems like whenever a subscriber sends me a video, and they want me to check something out because something doesn't look right, it just always seems to be this security company. Um, I don't know what it is, guys, but like I'm not familiar with their patch design, their logo, and everything else, but I keep getting directed back to them. I'm not saying that there's anything negative about the company. It just I keep getting directed towards them. And the last comment that I got, somebody wanted me to review this. I think this news special regarding the rise of tactical teams, and the same security company is being featured. So I want to talk about their techniques, and really, I want to talk to you guys about whether this is necessary in private security. Do we need tactical teams? So let's take a look. Let me share my screen with you. And we are going to watch the special here.
Have lost their homes in Clark County since the pandemic. It has created an
If you guys can't hear,
squatters to move on in.
let me know.
Fox 5, Victoria Saha tells us how this is becoming a big issue for private security companies and why it could be a problem near you.
Well, if you live in an apartment complex, no matter which part of town, there's a good chance you have a few empty units by you. And you.
Okay. So in order for me not to get kicked off of YouTube, I do have to pause these videos every once in a while and have a discussion. So that's what we're doing here. First off, are vacant apartment units, are they a problem? And I would argue that they are absolutely a problem. And it's for numerous reasons. Number one, you get squatters, right? But not only squatters, you get open-ended drug dealing events. I mean, what better place is there to deal drugs, to deal dope from an abandoned apartment? I mean, the police probably don't know where you're operating from. You're not tied to your mom's house, your uncle's house, or some other house where the police could potentially kick those doors down. Why not choose a vacant apartment? We also know that drug dealers are often armed. They need to protect their product. Because they're armed, that creates a difficult and dangerous situation for private security.
You may never know if that's now home to a squatter, and whatever they're doing inside could put you in danger.
Emergency Services Team, we talked about the title. This is basically your ERT unit, your SRT unit. We talked about stolen valor. It takes a lot, guys, to be on a legitimate SRT, ERT unit in a SWAT team. Physical agility. It takes having the right mindset and the right skills to get the job. I don't know if these guys have went through an in-house program. If they went through an in-house training program by the right instructors, I got no problem at all. I have no reservations at all with these guys having the emergency response unit patches. I know some people might think that those patch designs and maybe the pins are designed for law enforcement or maybe military, but I would argue that it's fine for private security to do so as long as they're being properly trained.
This is why security companies hired by apartment complexes are finding they have a lot more on their hands to keep.
All right. Let's talk about this entry to begin with. If I'm not mistaken, I see these guys having flashlights in their hand, and I don't see any weapon mounted lights. I see a ballistic shield, but the entry is just strange. Now, obviously, this is staged because, I mean, come on, there's a camera there. But I don't know. I've seen their social media post and videos, and what I see now is not reflective of what I've seen on social media. What I see on social media is a lot of their techniques are being done appropriately, effectively, and you could tell that they have the right trainers. So I don't know if this is an event that's just for the media. I don't know, but seeing what I saw, I would expect a different response. I mean, the problem is this: when you cut a corner, right, and you just have your flashlight, well, what are you gonna do if somebody has their gun out? I mean, you're gonna drop your flashlight and the result to your pistol. I mean, that's obviously going to be the case. Your ballistic shield guy, who's his coverage? The guy holding the flashlight. This makes absolutely no sense to the point of thinking that this was probably purposely, intentionally done by this security company. And the reason being, I'm thinking is probably, I mean, do you want to have a live firearm while you're making this video? Probably not. I mean, there's other things that you can do. You can put a chamber flag inside. You can use Sims pistols. You can use airsoft guns, but it just looks weird. So let's continue.
Keep you safe. The Las Vegas Valley is home to hundreds of apartment complexes.
Some of these apartment complexes.
All right, CEO of Protective Force International. You know you're competing against my wall, right? My lovely wall. Where's your security? Where's your security patches? No, actually, it's not a. We're not competing because he got the police ones and I got the security ones. But I would argue that my patch wall is better. I'm just kidding. No, that's a pretty neat patch wall. All right, let's see what the CEO has to say.
That we are contracted on have upwards of 150 vacant units on one property.
Oh my goodness, you guys, 150 vacant units on one property. That attracts, oh, we're in Vegas. So would that attract prostitution? Probably. Open-ended drug sales? Definitely. Would that attract human trafficking? Yes. This is a very dangerous situation for those of you who actually work at these apartment complexes.
Chief Jonathan Alvarez is the CEO of Protective Force International. His private security team contracts with more than 300 apartment complexes in town. Many with the same issue, squatters taking over.
For some of these folks, home is right upstairs or right next door to one of those vacant units.
The problem has gotten...
You know what? You got to give it to them. They're actually out there practicing. These guys right now are doing a better job with the ballistic shield than the LA County Sheriff's Department, Norwalk Station did in, I think it was January or maybe February, where we actually did a tactical debrief on that approach where you have a ballistic shield guy. Eventually he's by himself, and then you have these two other deputies fanning off to the left and the right. And then basically at the end of the, we'll call it a shit show, you have the ballistic shield doing or serving no purpose. But I really like how they're linear. This actually takes a lot of discipline, guys, to walk up to a house this disciplined in a linear fashion. I would argue if you're going to bring in a ballistic shield, you should bring in a ballistic helmet. Now, some people might say it's overkill, and I wouldn't disagree that it's overkill. And to agree, it just depends on the facts. But if you look at the shield guy all the way in the front, his head is going to eventually lower, and it's going to expose all of this area here. Because of that, because we're not thinking about these decisions when we make entry, we want to just wear our helmet, our ballistic helmet, at least the shield guy. Like it's fine. Okay, fine. If all the other guys don't have a helmet, I see they're expensive. A good helmet that's not in China will probably run you maybe like $800, maybe $1,000. At least equip the shield guy with the ballistic helmet. All right, let's move on.
So bad that the security team has created their own task force just to handle this issue.
I heard that the security department here created their own task force to address this issue. Coming from the business side, I don't believe that this is very cost effective. I think you're going to be running in the red if you have a full-time tactical unit that only responds to apartment units. And for that reason, I think the media may have misspoke here. Or maybe they're provided with information from this security company. But for me, I wouldn't be running a full-time special unit for this unless there's full-time work. Our sources tell us that with this security company, they're basically pulling guys off patrol, or their basic duties, their fundamental duties is patrol, and they get pulled off of patrol or their assignment to clear an apartment. That's at least what I'm being told by my sources who actually work in Vegas.
Sergeant Jalen Thompson is the head of it.
I could have sworn. So if I'm in California, well, I am in California, and I go to Las Vegas, if I saw this sergeant, like I would seriously think that he was on the SWAT team or the HR team. I like the uniform, and if I had a tactical unit, I would dress them as this. I think he looks very sharp, professional, but this is the problem. The general public might not know the difference. I know it says private security, but from like, I don't know, 20 feet away, our sergeant here looks like a SWAT operator or somebody on a ERT team or SRT. Well, they actually, they are. I guess they are. I don't know. I could tell you, if we get security companies, and I'm not saying this company's messing it up, but if you have any companies out there that are overbearing, I can easily see the DOPL, Doppel. They're the regulatory board in Las Vegas for private security professionals. I can easily see legislation or proposed legislation that would change the uniform requirements to make them look more like security. So I'm fine. I'm totally fine with the uniform. I know a lot of you are against it. All I can ask all of these security companies is just to act within the perimeters of the law and never give the public the misconception that they are law enforcement. Okay, you absolutely don't want to do that. So for me, coming from California, Las Vegas, I honestly would not know the difference until I'm a lot closer to this person.
With the county evictions continuing to rise, the problem isn't going anywhere.
It's just a big fire we're attempting to put out.
The security
So it looks like there's like mass evictions. Maybe the economy is going down. In California, the sheriff's department would normally serve evictions, and they would physically remove any squatters from the residence. Now, it's my opinion or my belief that once the tenants are removed, you can't call the court services division and have more people removed. I think at that point in time, I think it becomes a squatting issue or maybe even a trespass issue, and you can remove these people on your own. Now, I suggest to private security that you guys don't engage in any eviction processes. I don't think that this is the eviction process. I think that this is a trespassing issue. Those of you who work motels or hotels security, keep in mind that you play in a different playing field. This video doesn't really pertain to you.
team sharing exclusive video with Fox 5 showing the
Okay, so when you're entering the threshold, you do want to go pretty quick. And then you're going to want to slow it down. So quick through the threshold, so you're not in that fatal funnel. I hate to use the cliche words here, but otherwise, I have not much of a problem with entry, other than the fact that they're walking in there with no guns. Topic of another story.
Task force going into a vacant unit.
I like that. I think that's a sergeant. I like how he gets security. He's watching the rear. That's absolutely necessary, because you don't know if there's other people hiding out in other apartments, in another apartment unit that's going to come in. But I really like the fact that he has everybody's back.
Unit. And it's not just squatters looking for shelter.
Okay, so this is done way too fast. Once you enter the threshold, you want to do basically what we call limited penetration or threshold clearing, slow and deliberate. This training reminds me of the way that SWAT teams and military would do dynamic entry. This is basically a dynamic entry. Reminds me how they would do these entries maybe in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, maybe even mid 2000s. But I think the last 5 to 7 years, there's been a push towards slow and deliberate entry, slower threshold clearing, and not fast, because you're going to end up missing something. Remember, you can only go as fast as you can shoot. Can these guys, will they be able to address the threat rapidly? I don't know, but it looks like they do have some requirements in order to get onto this special unit, but they're just going way too fast. So definitely slow down. And then look at the severity of the crime. So dynamic entries in a law enforcement context, historically, that's meant for your dope deals, right? I'm sorry, your drug dealers. You rake in the windows, you explosive entry, you make an explosive entry through the threshold of the door, or you just breach the door, go in, you go in fast. You go in fast and you go in hot. And the whole need for that is so that they're not flushing the dope on you, right? Is there an urgency here to go in that fast? And I would argue no. See, if you go in this fast, you're giving people inside less time to give up, which could be a good thing as well. But remember, guys, we're not in the military. We're accountable for each round. And the jury's going to look at it as, what would the reasonable person expect? Okay. And then look at the overall charge. What criminal offense is this if you're squatting? Well, in California, it would be trespassing. Think about that. Trespassing is a misdemeanor, by the way.
We,
In many
essentially
states.
have found trafficked children in them. They constantly find narcotics, and
You guys hear that? They found trafficked children in there. There's some evil people. There's some bad people living in these abandoned apartments. That's one of the arguments I have for going in there that hot.
drug use. There have been fires.
The team can
Fires. Okay. There's a lot of transients out there who are arson registrants. They go in here, they set fire to these vacant apartments, and then what else catches on fire next? The next unit that's where there's people inside.
never
Again, I think this is for the media. Where your eyes go, you should have a barrel solution to that. Okay. If you feel like it's not safe or justified, then yes. And then wait a minute. So on the upper left portion of the screen, it says the word training. So is this training? And if it's training, you should have red guns or sims, because the techniques that are used here, they can develop into, I hate to use this cliche word also, but muscle memory. Some of these guys, if they're not thinking clearly, they might actually be clearing in a real life situation. They might be clearing buildings like this with no weapon out.
tell what's behind the doors, so
They're moving way too fast. Okay. So the shield guy is designed to provide coverage for everybody behind it. But here it only looks like they're just he's just covering for two people.
Prepared for
Yeah, well, here, you know what? You do want to hit the threshold fast, but once you hit your point, like right here, you have a corner. You want to slow down. Okay. Now, if all this area here is a fatal funnel, then I would make an argument to actually go inside of one of these rooms as fast as you can. Those facts aren't here.
any danger lurking.
We
I don't know what technique this is. Lighting technique. It looks like they were trying to go into a temple index. Which is a lighting technique that's shown in law enforcement low light courses, but it doesn't look right.
we have had officers that have been attacked with knives, with pipes. So we
There, that's the reason. I think this speed right here that they're moving, I think that's a good pace. And look at, I like how they're all linear. You see that? The thing about hallways and tight corridors, it forces a shield team to remain linear. And I'm not saying that you always have to remain linear. I'm just saying that it forces them to remain linear. And when you remain linear, you remain in back of the shield.
train for that unknown.
Okay, hold on. You see this gentleman right here with kind of like some hair underneath his chin. The second from the back, you see he's illuminating his hand. You got to be careful with illumination. If you illuminate your hand or a wall, it can actually splash back in your eyes. If I was this guy's partner, I'd be pissed off because you're basically illuminating his back. So that light should go off. Remember, we want to turn our light when it's needed. This apartment, it is daytime, and there will be some areas that need to be covered that are dark, but I don't see the need to illuminate your arm. I think a little bit more practice would correct that deficiency.
Most likely they'll have a shield with them.
Man, so I was trying to find out where they got the shield, what brand it is. And it looks very close to the Vanguard ASIS, which is, that might just be a pistol rated shield. I don't know. They're moving like way too fast. To make just with the speed, it makes me think that this might just be a pistol rated shield, which that's not a problem. But I don't know. I couldn't find the brand of shield this is. They just say if it is hard armor, this probably weighs close to 18, 19, 20 pounds. Hard armor meaning it's level 3 plus. Level 3. I don't know. It could be pistol rated only.
If it's a higher threat, like responding.
I think that's pretty neat, guys. And if you have an SBR, you can actually rest it right on here. I haven't tried it yet with the full-size carbine, the 16-inch barrels, but you could rest it right here. But I like this design. I would like it actually to go from the shoulders all the way down here.
Active shooter, active assailant, they'll probably have.
But you're gonna just be adding weight. But this is neat. I don't know what kind of I don't know what this is rated for. This guy looks really sharp. I have no problem at all with this uniform.
Don their helmets on.
And while they have boots on the ground, their drone can capture anyone trying to escape them.
That's pretty neat. They got the drone. So going back, you see the stack. The team leader should be the third guy. So I'm not positive whether that's the team leader or not. Team leader basically pushes the momentum of the team to where it needs to go in a safe and efficient manner.
The team also works with Metro Police for when they do.
See that lighting technique? What the hell is that?
When they do suspect.
I'm telling you guys, this has to be just for media. I don't see them training like this on their regular page.
There's criminal activity going
Instagram
on
page.
inside the units. They suggest property owners or management
Way too fast.
post exactly which unit they have available.
Now, when I say way too fast, I'm saying once they pass the threshold. Once you breach the threshold, you want to move quickly until you're headed to the rooms.
Because that's a key giveaway for a squatter to know they can move right on it. John.
All right, Victoria, thank you. And we should say that Victoria did reach out to the Clark County to get an updated number on their evictions this month, but we're still waiting to hear back.
So Clark County is waiting to get a number of the evictions. So I don't think that the security team is serving those evictions. I really think it's the Court Services Bureau. All right, let me just go through the comments real quick. So the next step is I want to go over the requirements in order to be on this team. All right, so Randy Nunez. Oh, yeah, Randy's here. Randy actually helped us out a couple weeks ago where I work at, and he helped us out with the low light course. So I really appreciate that. He says laser beam flashlight weapons. Doug says they are just security with security powers, nothing else. Doug has literally worked everywhere, you guys. The Professional Security Journal. Well, I want to address that, Doug. So yes, they are security powers, nothing else, which puts them basically at the same authority as the owner, right? As the owner of private property, you do have a right to enforce trespassing regulations on the property, and you do have a right to assign an owner's agent, which is security. But yes, I get it that they only have powers like anyone else. Professional Security Journal says, yeah, they're all unarmed. I know for a fact, as a Vegas local, this company deals only in armed officers. This was, 100% a media thing. And guys, if you get a chance to be on the media, you have to take advantage of those opportunities and have the best equipment. If it was my company, I would go out to Walmart and buy like 8 airsoft pistols. Just for this movie clip, because I can use this for advertising later on. But what's going to happen is you're going to get somebody that knows what they're talking about, and they're going to wonder, like, why are you doing these revolutionary techniques that are going to get people injured or hurt? If you're private security, hopefully you guys aren't studying these techniques because they're going to get you hurt. Professional Security Journal says 150 is not uncommon. It's all of what you mentioned, prostitution and all. If 150 is not uncommon. Yep. Mr. Fusion's here. 800. Professional Security Journal says $800, 800 plus at a minimum is a good number for helmets. I've done my research on helmets. At the same time, I did a deep dive on body armor. Good. Yeah, guys, if you get a helmet for $200, it's from China. At my department, one of the guys put in like a quote for a helmet because I wanted the best of helmets that cost like $800, $900. But he put in in the quote or in the budget this helmet that says level 4, and it says bulletproof helmet, and it was like $200. It's made in China. You think you're going to put a made in China helmet on your helmet? I'm sorry. You think that that it's safe to put a made in China helmet on your head? How much is your head worth? That's what I'm saying is you're going to look at close to $800. Professional Security Journal says the problem is this is how everyone in that company addresses. This is not just their ERT. This is all of their officers, uniformed and equipment loadout. Oh, PILB. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not in the area. I know that you guys are. Once again, like I have no problem at all with the uniform, but the problem is that with these larger organizations, you have these bad apples, and all it takes is just one. It takes one person to be overbearing, appear on camera, and then you have the PILB wanting to push forward regulations that state what kind of uniform you're going to wear. And it's not going to look like that. So that's the problem I have. I think that if you are in the tactical unit, I think that dress is appropriate. Or maybe you work an assignment where it's dirty outside. Nobody ever sees you. Or maybe you just want to increase your command of presence. I mean, maybe have different uniforms is all I'm saying. Advancing Security. Hey, he's here. 7 viewers equals 7 likes. Show your support team. Thank you, Advancing Security. Make sure that you guys subscribe to the Advancing Security channel as well. Professional Security Journal says, that's why I always say train momentary, keep the light only for as long as you need it. Professional Security Journal says, and that's one of their captains in the company, retired Marine. Okay. Primary Security Agency Training Division. He says, it is odd them searching with flashlights like that. Yeah. So you do have the Temple. I'm sorry. This is my gun hand, strong hand, Temple Index. You know, you're about here. And the thing is, the concept is wherever your head turns, the light turns as well. So you can illuminate on the same side, the same token, you're illuminating this whole area right here, or this is the light source. If I want to take you out, I just aim towards the light and I could probably hit your vitals here. I've never ever seen in all of my training, somebody bring a flashlight up to here. And I think that they're not used to training like that. And they're doing that just for the media, which I get it. I understand. How can you justify clearing an apartment with a loaded firearm just for a media interview? You can't. There's like no justification in that. And then that's why I say, if you run a business, go to Walmart, wherever it is, and buy airsofts just for that camera. Professional Security Journal says they're not serving evictions. Okay. He says that the Las Vegas City Marshals is doing. I should have just interviewed Mike from the Professional Security Journal on this. Las Vegas has their own Department of Public Safety. And he goes on to say that City DPS has marshals. They're normally the ones that it's shared between them and LVMPD. Oh my goodness, I forgot to stop sharing the screen. Oh, wait a minute. I did. Advanced Security says, hey brother, what software are you using for this live stream? And then Mike helped me out. StreamYard. Yeah, hey guys, please do me a huge favor. I had to pay $240. No, not a month. It's a year. For the year for this program. I don't think I'm going to make my money, but just press the like button and put some comments, and that'll help the algorithm out. Professional Security Journal says Arcadia already got PILB to write regulations for the first time in I don't know how long. My entire time in security, I've never seen a state board introduce new regulations. Arcadia got PILB to write stuff. Hey, Mike, was that before I did the social media review in Arcadia, or was it after? And by the way, on Arcadia Security, guys, we just left them alone. We did I did one video, and then all of a sudden they weren't really receptive. So I just had to do another video. And then I just thought I'd just leave them alone for now. I think we left them alone for a whole year, but I'm really curious as to when the new regulations came into effect, before or after the videos. Security guard, hey, David's here. He says, I suspect that these security SWAT teams are more of a marketing stunt than anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't see the utility. I mean, being a business owner, they're probably getting between $20 and $25 an hour, and I'm told that's pretty high. How much is it going to cost to have a full-time unit like this? I mean, I don't think it'd be worth it. I really don't think it'd be worth it. So you'd have to pull off guys off of patrol. That's the only thing I could think of. Unless there's other assignments where you have maybe a client or a couple of clients that want full-time emergency security work, but I don't know. Professional Security Journal says that was after the review. That was last year in 2023 while I was in Utah. They did stuff bad. Apparently they got PILB to write stuff. That's ridiculous. It's like California. You get some security companies that make some mistakes, some bad mistakes, some intentional mistakes, and then we all get punished. Okay, so we're going to go over the requirements to work for this company. And let me share the screen. As a special response team unit. Okay, so this is their page, Protective Force International. And guys, this video is not to bash this company at all. I know that there's mixed feelings in the comments, but me personally, seeing what I see, seeing all their training videos on Instagram, I don't think that this is the best of the security company. When I mean the best, I mean the news reports. I really think that they showed for the camera, because their techniques don't make any sense. It seems like they have reputable management. They have very good trainers, because I watch their videos. But I just see two different things. But anyhow, going back to Protective Force International, here's a webpage. They have a canine unit. Hey, I'm going to click on this tab. Can you guys let me know in the comments whether the new tab appears? Do you guys see the three dogs, the Roscoe, Pan, and Dexter? Let me know in the comments real quick. Oh, okay. Thanks, Mike. Thank you. Okay, so looks like maybe I know what I'm doing. That's a lot of dogs. So the question is, where are these dogs trained at? We've seen some security companies that actually have pets and they just throw them in the back, but I'm sure that these canines are well trained somewhere. That's funny. Look at for the pet bull, it says do not pet. Well, of course I'm not going to pet. And then it says firearms detection. I would think everybody in Vegas is armed, right? All right, we'll go to careers and then apply now and search. We'll see what jobs they have available. So I want to know what the requirements are to be on this emergency security team. As we see that there's 7 positions available, even the canine handler position. You know what? Let me just click on that real quick. I'm just interested. Like, do you need to go through a canine school before? Requirements. Okay, you need previous handler experience or education through a certified school, and words at school certified. You have to achieve one of the following: 1 year military service preferably in a combat deployment, 1 year military canine handler role with full military handler course, 1 year law enforcement role and completed an accredited law enforcement academy, municipal or federal correctional officer and attended a full-time accredited LE corrections officer. Wow. How much are you guys paying? Oh, okay. All right. $20, $30 an hour, full-time, part-time, and contract. I would probably think that if any of the guys from Las Vegas Metro have a work permit, they're authorized to work security assignments, maybe that's good money, 20 to 30. If you offer me 20 to 30 an hour where I'm at, I can't. It's just too little. So it looks like they have a standard there for a canine. I was just curious. Let me click out of here. Hey guys, if you're not seeing the screens, let me know. So now we're on the emergency security team officer. Let me just check in the comments and make sure everything's working properly. Okay. I think it is. All right. So this is a full-time assignment to be on their emergency security team. If you're a veteran or your prior LEO, you're encouraged to apply. Pay, it's up to $25 an hour. Again, in California, there is no way that I would sign up to work at $25 an hour. If you ever want to hire off-duty law enforcement, see what their overtime rate pay is and try to be competitive. But obviously this is Vegas. All right. So qualifications, be 21 years of age, high school graduate, 1 to 2 years of safety experience or customer service. They prefer individual with 2 years police, military police, or security experience. Good. And guys, I'm not saying that you should only be military or law enforcement in order to get onto these special units. Security experience works well. You just have to have somebody that's really receptive to training. if they come from the security background. The reason being is if you come from the security background, you have to articulate a little bit more on your tactical experience as compared to maybe being an MP or a police officer. Depending on what type of police officer or your role in the military, that would depend on the type of real life exposure that you had. But we could kind of assume that if you're in those roles, that you have significant exposure that is related to the job that you would be applying for. With security, it's a little bit different. There's, depending on the security assignment, there's a lot of, there's least exposure. So I like how the fact that you can be on their special unit if you got 2 years. And I'm just going to just go through all of this, whatever comes to mind. Something that we need to clarify on, I'll talk about it. Okay, you need 8 hours of ASP baton training. So it looks like you can only carry a collapsible. I don't know why they just said ASP. I think, see the rationale, because I worked a reservation police, casino police. The argument for the ASP is it looks less intimidating to the public, less intimidating, which kind of defeats the purpose of the uniform, right? If you have a tactical looking uniform, SWAT like uniform, like why not allow them to have any type of baton? I don't know. Maybe this is a Las Vegas thing. So here, okay, it looks like there's a physical and written test that's due. It looks like they do have some type of security academy, which is great. And that's due within the first 90 days of the role. So does that mean that you're already out in the field in your special assignment role? I don't know. And then it says that you have to certify between every 2 or 3 years through the security academy, and then you have to go through physical, mental, and environmental demands. I'm sorry, there's demands, those types of demands you have to meet. What about the weight? Oh, damn. You have to be able to lift and carry up to 60 pounds and push or pull up to 150 pounds. So ideally, your team members should not be overweight. If they're 300 pounders, as Doug will call them, what did he call it? He calls tactical teams that are overweight meal team 6. Anyhow, yeah, that's a good thing. I'm 158, and I know that I need to be at 143. Something I'm working on. Where I work at on our special team, I'm actually the lightest person, and that's because I'm the least tallest, I think. So it makes sense not to be like 300 pounds because your special team members are they're tested to only up to 150 pounds. All right. Well, I think that's it. That's all the requirements to be on this emergency security team. So I guess the next question is, what is the security academy that they have to go through? Is this some type of SRT, ERT school? I really like to know, because if you're an emergency security officer, you should be trained with gas deployments, building search techniques, limited penetration, dynamic entry, vehicle approaches. You should be going through force on force training, tactical medicine. I think that's what makes a complete emergency security team officer. I'm not saying that this company is void of that. I'm just saying that's what's needed. All right, let me go back to StreamYard. Okay, Security Guard Command says, I suspect that these security SWAT teams are more of a marketing stunt than anything. It's possible. Mike says that all dogs are trained by the International Casino and Resort Working Dog Association. ICRWDA. I'm personally unaware of this association. Is post certified. I don't think that we mentioned. I don't think I mentioned in the video that anything was post certified. Did I? Or did it say on the website? Dang, Mike knows everything in Vegas. I'm telling you, like, I should have just interviewed him. Mike says, because I know PILB requires a canine endorsement on your security license, like going armed and getting an armed license. Hey, that's interesting. Okay. He says you have to go in front of the board for the canine endorsement. Good. Because in California, you don't need any endorsement. It's all on your own insurance. Security guard commands hospitals are barely getting to 25 an hour right now. I guess that's good. But remember, we're in California, David. $25 an hour. I don't think it's a livable wage. I couldn't live with that wage. And I live in the desert in the middle of nowhere. Professional Security Journal says, because PFI, that's, what does PFI stand for? Protective Force International. It's how ASP came to Vegas. Oh, okay. That's how I got my ASP AIC years ago. PFI is what brought ASP to Vegas. Ah, okay. Thank you. That makes sense. The AIC baton instructor course I went through was hosted by PFI. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Advancing Security says, how can an average guard make it to a position like this without police or military experience? Asking for the majority of us in security who want to turn security into a career. Advancing Security, that's a really good question. How does your average guard get into something like this? As you could see, the requirements, there's not much requirements. Watch. Let me go back to that screen. Look, the qualifications: 21 years of age, high school graduate or equivalent, 1 to 2 years of safety experience. Does the average private security officer have 1 to 2 years of safety experience? And based on my statistics on the surveys, I would argue yes. They prefer an individual with 2 years police, military, or security experience. Yes, you guys, most people watching my channel have that experience. If not, just wait 2 years. But that's it. That's really it. It doesn't say anything about tactical experience. It looks like that they will train you. And you go through this security academy every 2 to 3 months. Now, you do have to pass the physical, mental, and environmental demands. And Advanced Security, I follow your Instagram channel. I know you've been working out. You've been getting back in shape, motivating us all. So that's good. You can probably apply and pass the physical demands. Can most security? Maybe. I don't know. So look, get your 2 years experience. Go to Las Vegas. And that's it. When I say 2 years experience, I'm talking about security, law enforcement, or military. Professional Security Journal says their ERT goes through an in-house training program, which consists strictly of controlled force CRACE training. They're lacking in what Sean is talking about. I'm a little bit confused. So if their in-house training is your CRACE training, and I think we're referring to citizen response to active shooter events. That's what Texas State University offers through the Alert college that they have. The question for me to you, Mike, is that the training that they're referring to, just the CRACE training? Because the CRACE training at Texas State, it's only 4 hours. I think it's 4 hours. I could be off. But I did an instructor level course online. I just finished. I'll do a video on that, on how you can add that to your resume. Anybody can take that course, really. And that course was only 4 hours online. There's no tactical component to it. I'm sure if you go to private vendors out there, there is maybe a tactical component to that. But if it's just the CRACE training, and that's it, I would think it's maybe bare minimum training that's needed for entry. But the thing is about the training that I saw is a lot of it was dynamic. entry. It's almost like they're replicating an active shooter course where you needed to get to the shooter real fast. Here we don't have a shooter. We just have possible squatters in an apartment. Okay, so Mike says you didn't mention post. Okay. Mike says maybe I'm getting my courses confused. It's some sort of active shooter course. I'll look it up and circle back for knowledge in the normal comments. Okay, so if you're doing building searches like clearing apartments, my personal recommendation is to get a little bit more training other than your active shooter courses. They do help, but you want to expand on that training. I mean, maybe take active shooter courses. They're basically your gateway entry training into clearing areas where there's dangerous people hiding behind walls or hiding around the corner. I can see some of that training being done when I see them making entry. Okay. All right. That's all I got. I want to know what you guys' opinion is. Are tactical teams necessary in private security? I still would argue yes. I just think that they need to be trained. I'm not saying that this company is not trained at all. I think that the demonstration was just for the media because some of the techniques made absolutely no sense. If they are trained, if they do exist or you want them to exist, what is the level of training or education that you believe is necessary? All right, guys, that's all I got. Take care.